Good evening, ladies and gents. As you're coming in, if you can hear my voice and also if you can see my screen. Yes, good evening, ladies and gents. If you can hear my voice and you can see my screen, please do raise your hand in the Zoom application so that I can know that we are in business. Thank you very much. Hands coming in. Again, good evening, ladies and gents. It is 11th of August, 2021. It's been a year since we first started this series, Follow the Trader. So I just wanted to quickly show you some results since that time. Let me just bring that there. So we started this series around the 8th of the 1st of August last year. I unitized my portfolio to started that account with 1,000 Rand. Created myself 100 units to track the performance of the portfolio, which would take into account adding more capital into the portfolio. Like for example, here I added 2,000 Rand, and likewise I added the appropriate number of units, which basically just buying units at whatever prevailing price it was at that time. So I've been up. If I scroll all the way to the bottom, I've been up 20% over that period. It was 17%, when we close off the year, but accumulatively up 19%. That was pretty quite impressive. I'm happy with that result. And this doesn't take into account all the other trades that I've taken before. So this only counts. The 100 trades are only the only trades that I've only taken this year. So 25 of them were winners. 77 were losses. 25% hit rates. But with an average return. So on average, my winners were 3 times bigger than my losses, as you can see in this chart here below, showing the distribution between wins and losses. On average, the winning trades win just about 3 times more than the average loss. With that one occasional, so you do make money on a few of your trades that move the needle quite a bit. That's quite the nature of trend following. So yeah, coming back into the charts, I did get stopped out on Discam since last time, as I did suspect last week. So I did get stopped out as the stock closed out below the 50-day exponential moving average, but the recovery was quite strong and swift, with a nice strong bullish engulfing candle engulfing the prior 4 days, almost closing in on that 5th one as well. So when the stock closes back above 32 Rand 36, I'll jump back. I'll add to get into the position, rebuilding this position. I did get quite a bit of profits, but 5% on that previous rally. I believe I first took it on that break there. I did make quite a bit of return on that trend. So if we break back about that 32 Rand, I'll add into my position to get into this trend some more. I got stopped out on Telkom, not looking so good recently. So looking like it's holding that 200-day exponential moving average. So now I'm going to wait by that 45 rand resistance. So so guys, I'm seeing hands being raised. If you have a question, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A at any time. And if the specific to the chart that I'm looking at, I'll attend it immediately. Otherwise, I will park it to the end. But I will eventually get to it. So if you have a question, feel free to pop it up on the Q&A or the chat box. As I was saying, back if you can close back about 45 rand, I'll jump back into this trade with my stop loss just below the 200-day exponential moving average. Looking to see where the swing low ends. Perhaps it's possible to see the stock coming back to test that 37 rand level, in which case I'll still wait for that 45 rand level. But for now, my pre-stop, as it were, is around the 39 rand, 40 rand level. This one I totally missed that it was ex-div today on Implats. You remember Implats paid quite a chunky dividend and a special dividend of around 175 rand. So that gap that you see there today was ex-div. So yeah, I did get stopped out in that trade. So when the stock closes back above that 1821 level, I'll jump back into this trade. Perhaps we'll really get to sit run above that 2000, the 2200 levels, but I'm happy to start rebuilding my position at these levels. Quilter, I took a quick loss. We had a gap and drive yesterday as it broke out on results. Results were quite strong. I got stopped out today. So, but if it breaks back above 34 rand, I'll just jump back in. So coming back to the open positions. Right. Absa looks like the it's quite a bit of selling happening. I'm still waiting for the 164 level before I could add to this position. Just waiting to see if that 149 level Hammond, if you got a question, man, please pop it up in the Q&A or the chat box on the Zoom application. Yeah, so I'll be waiting for that 164 level on Absa to add to my position at the moment. And I'm waiting to see how it continues to return at 150 level. African Rainbow, looking quite strong, making a higher low. So it did make a new high last week, but just came shy of it made a new higher close, but came shy of making a new high. So I wanted back above a higher close above the all-time highs on African Rainbow. So if we can close up 305 level, I'll add to my position, raising my stop to around that's 281, liking how African Rainbow moves at the minute. If we can take out those, I suspect the last bit of sellers remaining on this stock. If we can take out that 305 level. Yeah, we really are up for a run on African rainbows. You can see we will be running into new highs. Come back to the daily charts. Nsibande moving nicely. Still testing, retesting the doors of the new box. So if you can break back above 182, I wanted to see how long this level holds as resistance. If it holds this whole week again, if on the next break, perhaps next week, I will add into my position, raising my stop to around that 175 level, just below those lows there, as the stock really gets into that higher box. Barlow forming a nice cap and handle pattern. Today having a nice bullish engulfing candle today, holding that 50-day exponential moving average. So I want to close back above that 110, the neckline of that cap and handle pattern. Then I will add to my position. For now, around the 104-ish level, perhaps around, just around that 104. But I'll see how the stock continues to react if I don't get a better spot to raise my stop to. BHP moving quite nicely as well. Repairing just shy of that 50-day exponential moving average. So I'm going to wait for close above that 491 level, 491.70, and then I will add to my position with a stop loss just below that swing low there. Bitcoin also moving nicely. Looks like that's what is it? 322 level, holding quite firmly as resistance. So if you can close back above that resistance level, I'll add to my position and raise my stop to 311. And then after that, I'll wait for a close above 331. Yep. Bitvest, Bitvest not looking quite good at the minute. But I'm hoping my stop loss is comfortable. It's quite a distance away. Let's see where the swing low ends up if we're going to have a high low. But if it breaks back above that 204, I'll add to my position with a stop loss below the low of the swing low. Capitec, I'm still finding quite a bit of selling there around that 1724 level. So I wanted to properly break close, a green close through this level, and then I'll add to my position with a stop loss just below the 50-day exponential moving average. I'm liking how Capitec moves. In fact, generally, all the banks are at the moment are looking quite decent. Richmond also looking quite nicely. Nice doji there. We haven't taken that low there, so I wait for a close above the 189 level. I wait for a close above that 189 level, and then I'll raise my stop to just below the low of the doji there and add to my position. Richmond moving quite nicely at the moment. Clicks as well, also moving quite nicely. Waiting for a close through let me just zoom in. 277.90 level, which was that high close there. So if you can get through those levels, I'll add to my position with a stop loss around that 259 or that 261. But I like giving my stop loss a little bit. My stop loss is a little bit more room, especially if a stock starts to show a little bit of momentum. I like to give it a little bit more room for to account for volatility. This cam, we did touch on this cam. I jumped back into the trade as we had a bullish engulfing candle. When the stock quickly recovers, I like that in stock. So if we close through that 22.36 level, I'll add to my position. Just forming a nice cap and handle pattern as well. So if we can get it close through 173, raising my stop to 167, I think I would be adding to my position, as that stop loss would be quite close to break even, and I wouldn't put a stop loss at break even because of the traffic there. But I could be adding to this position of distal with a stop loss around that 160, 167.70. So if the situation stays as it is at the moment, looking at this candle's low here, if this candle's low is not taken out, that's where I'll put my stop if the stock breaks through that 173.85. So with this cam, as you would remember, I entered back when we started this series. This trade is actually almost a year now. So I think next month, in a month, this trade would be a year old. It's 11 months now. First entered with bullish engulfing candle. One of my favorite trades to learn from. It taught me quite a bit. This trade. So if it can close through that 173 level, or add to my position. Xara also moving quite nicely, forming a nice head and shoulders pattern there, with the right shoulder quite much shallower than the left one, forming a nice ascending triangle to complete the head and shoulders pattern. So if you can close through that 184 level, I'll add to my position with a stop loss there around that 168 or that 174 level. If the 50-day exponential moving average would be about, but most likely that 174 level as my next stop loss. First trend, find a bit of selling around that 174 level. So if we can break above that level without closing this gap, I'll add to my position, raising my stop to just below the gapping candle there, the gap and dark candle there, so that if it tries to close the gap, I'll then get stopped out. Liking first trend. Banks are looking quite bullish at the moment. Banks are looking quite bullish. Glencore also added to my position recently, this morning actually, as it closed through that resistance level there. I added this morning, raising my stop to that 62 rand level. Perhaps maybe 63 wouldn't have been a bad idea, but like I said, I like giving stocks are taking new highs. A little bit more room to breathe. Let's see. So now, So now I'll wait for a close through 70 Rand 70. Let's see how it looks relative to price today. Yeah, perhaps if we can get through that 70 Rand 70 level, I'll add to my position, raising my stop ever so slightly to that 63 Rand 70 level, just below that 50-period exponential moving average, because it's really quite close by. And then after that, I'll start drawing my boxes. Growth Point, another stock I got stopped at fairly quickly, but I also jumped back into the stock just as quickly. So I'm waiting for close through that 1574 level, at which point I'll add to my position, raising my stop first to 1450, and then ultimately again, if I get another buy, raising my stop to that 1490 level. Implant holding, looks like it's holding that 50-day exponential moving average, making a higher low. So if we close through that 265 level, starting to make a higher high, I'll add into my position and raise my stop to that 236.40. But at the moment, I'm quite comfortable as my stop loss is quite some distance away. So if you can close through 265, I'll add to my position, raising my stop to 263. But ultimately, the price that I'm really looking for, close through 293. If we can close above 293, we'll really get to start to see Impala start moving quite nicely as it approaches the all-time highs. Investec also holding that 50-day exponential moving average, has strong position off in candle there. So I'm waiting for close through that 58 Rand. Initially I had it there, but I do suspect that we will find a bit of selling there around the 58 Rand level. So I'd rather wait for the stock to take out the 58 Rand high close, and then I'll add to my position with a stop loss around at 52.80. Kumba, my pre-stop got taken out today. Looks like I'm going to add to my position as the stock breaks back above at 789, as it moves back into the high box. But I'm waiting for now. I'm just waiting to see how price action happens on the stock as it starts to play with a lower box. I don't like it when the stock moves into a lower box. I want it to move into a higher box. Nice ascending triangle pattern on Life Healthcare. Waiting for that 2450 level. High close. So if we can get through 2450, I'll add to my position, raising my stop to just below the doji there, around 2270. And then again, I'll add to my position if we can close through 2570. At which point I'll be raising my stop to around that 23 Rand as I'm showing, liking how Life Healthcare is moving quite a bit. So above that 2570 level, I'll add again to my position. Momentum. So this bullish flag did break out yesterday, a couple of days ago, but the stock came back. But the reason why I didn't add to my position was because there was an obvious overhead resistance there. So I wanted to close above the 25.43 level, at which point I will add to my position, raising my stop to that 18.90 level. But I'm liking how it's holding at the moment, forming that round bottom there, looking like perhaps a nice head and shoulders pattern there. So above the 20.43 level, I'll add to my position, and again above the 20.80, I'll add again to my position. Mondi also moving quite nicely. Now it's on the top half of the box. So I'm going to be waiting for close to 434.70, at which point I'll add to my position and raise my stop. So around the 38 Rand, 397 rather, level, unless of course the market gives me a nice higher level to place my stop loss. Mr. Price moving nicely as well, bouncing off that 50-day exponential moving average. So now I'm going to be waiting for a close above that 236 level, and then I'll add to my position with a stop loss around that 211. Around that 211 level, and I'm sure that will be just below that 50-day exponential moving average. Nice round bottom on Mr. Price moving. I'm liking how Mr. Price is moving at the minute. MTN also moving, had. I wasn't sure how those results came out last week, but market seems to be liking them. So I'm going to be closing today with a nice bullish engulfing candle. I think 1, 2, 3. Yeah, engulfing about 3 days, 3 prior days. So I'm waiting for close to the 1824 level, at which point I'll add to my position with a stop loss around that 110 level. Yeah, I should change the colors in this one. Make it green. And yeah, there you go. So by the way, if anyone is new, this is what I mean by boxers. So yeah, so if you can get through to 118.24, I'll add to my position with a stop loss around that 110-ish level. Then bang. Like I said, banks are moving quite nicely at the moment. I want to see how long the stock takes, and if at all it will close the gap. So if it does close the gap, I'll place my stop to just below the swing low of the closing of the gap, and wait for the close above that 188 level, at which point I'll add to my position with a stop loss just below that swing low. But at the moment, if we if close back about 188, I'll just redraw the boxes and look at the pen again. Napier Rock, still quite a tug of war between buyers and sellers at that 50-period exponential moving average. So if we can close through the 190 level, I'll add into my position with this, raising my stop ever so slightly to just below that traffic of that war between buyers and sellers there, and just wait, and then just wait for close above the 105. 105.90 level. I do suspect that the stock will spend quite a bit of time oscillating between that 100 and between that 5 Rand range, between 100 and 105. afterwards. So if it close through that 190 level, I'll add to my position. Pepco. Pepco moving, also moving quite nicely, testing the doors of the higher box. So if you close back above that 2162 level, I'll add to my position with a stop loss just below that 50-day exponential moving average on Pepco. I did get stopped out. Also, a stock that I did take quite a fair bit of profits in already. Jumping back into the trade. So if you get close through 21, I'll add into my position and then wait for a breakthrough, a higher box. Sanlam. So yeah, we had that breakout there after and it closed back about the 50-day exponential moving average. So I wanted to start building my position because there's a good chance that these lows will not be taken out, even if the stock can oscillate between the 59 and 64 level for quite a bit. But you know, at least I can withstand that that holding. Knowing that my stop is most likely will not get touched off. So now, if we I'm only going to add to this position above the 62 rand level, raising my stop to just below the 50-day exponential moving average, and wait on the sidelines. The level I'm actually really waiting for is that 64 and 90 level. So I'm just starting to build my position ever so slightly. Sasol, price action not looking too great on Sasol. Looks like the sellers, the volume that's coming in is coming in from sellers. That's not what I was looking for. There we go. That downtrend line is holding quite, and it's starting to go to change shape and go a little bit lower. But if the stock takes out these lows, I don't want to be holding that stock because there's a good chance we could see it if we could close below that 200-day exponential moving average. There's a good chance we could see it fall back to that 174 level. At which point I'd rather wait on the sidelines for that action to happen. But if not, if the stock closed back above that 230 level, I'll add to my position and raise my stop to just below the tower of war. And then the price I'm really waiting for is at 250 level. So actually, if I'm looking at the long-term chart, the pace is looking quite good. This is the monthly chart of Sasol. If the stock can, if the stock can really take close through that 50-month exponential moving average, around that 260, 270-ish level, we'll really get to see the stock really starts to move in. There's quite a bit of freeway happening. We could see the stock attack back those old highs, quite a bit of distance to those prior highs. And if you can even get 60-70%, even half of the trend, you will be in a good space if you can capture most of that trend. ShopRite, started its first pullback since entering into this new box. Still quite comfortable with where my stop is. Waiting to see where the swing low ultimately ends. But I'm waiting for close to that 173 level, top of the higher box. But if this level, once the 7 level holds for quite some time, and with the 50-day exponential moving average catching up behind, I'll add to my position if the stock closes back above at 167. But at the moment, my next entry will be around that 173 level, unless of course this 167 level holds longer as resistance. Nsibande, holding the 200-day exponential moving average. So I'm waiting for a close through that 64.57 level, at which point I will add to my position and raise my stop to just below the 50-day to 200-day exponential moving average. Likewise, the commodity stocks are looking quite bullish at the minute, but experiencing a fair bit of selling, perhaps profit taking, perhaps a re-rating or whatever the case may be. Wrong two, that's what I wanted. Yeah, if the stock continues to hold that support and you know, nice symmetrical triangle person, but it's taken too long to break out. So yeah, like I said, waiting for a close above that 64 and 50 level, and then the price that I'm really anticipating is that 74.95 level. If we can close above 74.95 while I'm still holding my position, I would be in good shape. At which point, I'm sure, I think I would probably be having a risk-free opportunity as taking that bigger trade. Transaction capital, you know, I also got stopped after, you know, riding that trend quite nicely as well. One of my better profits as well, the Giant. When we look at the close profits, that Giant winner was coming from transactional road. You know, once in a while you'll find a trend, a stock that trends like this, just continuously making higher highs and higher lows smoothly, smooth, without any big volatility. Of course, every party comes to an end eventually. So if you can, I'm still waiting for a close through that 38.40 level, at which point I'll add to my position and raise my stop to just below that 50-day exponential moving average, around the 36 and some change level. Truwords. Yeah, finding quite a bit of selling there at that 61.40 level, the top of the current box. So I'm waiting for the stock to break through the higher box. Nice ascending triangle pattern so far. I'm liking how Truwords is moving at the minute. Perhaps some catalyst through results or something, trading updates or whatever, will be a catalyst to start pushing that stock higher. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that close through that 61.40, and then I'll raise my raise my stop to around 57 rand. And then last but not least, Woolies. So Woolies gapped into the higher box. So I did add into my position on stock. So I'm waiting for a close through that 61 rand 38. So if we close above 61.38 without closing this gap, my stop loss will be just below around that 57.90 level, 57.80 level. But if we do close this gap, I'll add to my position when we close it back above 61.80, except my stop loss will be the low of that swing low on Woolies. So guys, if you do have questions, feel free to pop them up in the Q&A box or in the chat. So Goseng Pile, what is swap fees and where can I get the info about them on the platform? So the swap fees is essentially the interest that you pay on the amount that you borrow from the stock. So you will see here my current balance is, excuse me, my current balance is 7,500. Let me open the portfolio. Let me just hide these. Oh, there you go. So my exposure, my total exposure on the portfolio, even though my current balance, the cash that I have on the broker's account is 7,500. My actual exposure is 84,000 rand, 84,200 rand, and that's because the broker borrows me the money to have all these positions, and that's the gearing effect that we get from trading CFDs. So, because otherwise, to have all these positions, I would have needed to have roughly that's 84,000 rand amount of capital. But I get to gear my portfolio at the minute. If I check here, at the minute the balance is geared 11 times, and my initial capital is only geared 8 times. So that's the gift and the curse, I suppose, of having leverage and trading CFDs, is that you can leverage your small capital and really build and compound the small capital and take slightly bigger position, than otherwise you would have had. You would have needed to have. So that's the swap fees is, so the interest fee that gets charged overnight. So every time I spend a night holding a position, they charge me an interest. However, if all these if a company that I hold pays a dividend, I get the full dividend. That's another aspect of the gearing level that we get. And conversely, if I was short a stock that pays a dividend, they'll take it out of my margin because I'm supposed to pay that dividend, because the stock markets essentially what the market essentially did, they went to the market and spent whatever amounts to buy the stock on my behalf, and then borrow, have my balance as somewhat of a goodwill deposit. I hope that answers your question. Ladies and gents, I am not seeing questions coming in. If you have questions or chat requests, feel free to pop them in. If not, I'm going to park it here. The video will be up on YouTube in a few hours. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell notification button so that you will be notified when the video comes up. Rich is asking on Standard Bank. So Standard Bank, nice ascending triangle pattern. If you the banks, like I said, the banks are looking quite. Come on. Looking at this weekly chart, the banks are looking quite quite decent at the moment. I'm liking how the banks are nice ascending triangle, nice formula base, holding that 50-week exponential moving average. So, I'm waiting for a breakthrough descending trend line there, to start building my position, perhaps with an initial stop around the 116 level, and I'll quickly raise it to just below the gap, that gap there when it closed through 142.92 level. But I'm still monitoring the stock at the moment. Yeah, perhaps around the 136 level. Would be a nice place to start building a position there on Standard Bank there. But generally, the banks are looking quite good. Standard Bank seems to be slightly lagging the rest, but I'm liking the price action on the banks at the moment. So Avenge, let me. I would have to pull up, because there is no Avenge on the platform. So let me pull up my trading view. So Mohammed is asking on Avenge. So I generally don't trade penny stocks, and I'll tell you why. The volatility on the penny stock trading, 6-cent stock, is quite a bit. But if you do want to take that kind of a risk, it's not a bad stock to start building positions on. Every cent higher, you would essentially add to your position and raise your stop to raise your stop by a cent, because it seems to be trading within a 1 cent range for quite a while before moving. Actually, it's moving like a nice box system, Nicholas Davis's box system. But as I'm trading derivatives, I wouldn't be gearing this stock. But this chart, I'm liking how the price action moving at the moment. But the fact that it's trading at 6 cents worries me quite a bit. I lack liquidity in a stock. I don't want a stock that can be moved around easily with relative ease. You're very welcome, Mohammed. So guys, if no questions coming in, I'm going to park it there. Great, ladies and gents, thank you again for coming in. Do check out the podcast. I was interviewing Gary Poisons and Viv Governor. Great conversation there we had. The podcast was out earlier today. Yeah, like I said, the video will be up on YouTube quite soon. Otherwise, have a great evening. Check you again next week. Cheers, guys.